All right, well, I'm pretty sure y'all know what this is. This is gonna be Mortal Kombat, losing lives once again. Ryan, this was your pick.
I'm pumped.
Thanks for that, Ryan.
I'm pretty sure you are pumped.
I'm pumped.
I hope you're pumped for the next movie.
Not at all.
Which movie is that?
Yeah, that movie.
It's Mortal Kombat.
I think you're forgetting another movie. What's the other movie?
So Ryan lost the challenge. So
Which honestly was a lot of teamwork between both brothers. But they won't admit it.
Yeah. Just say.
I can see them whispering
Whatever
to
makes
each
you
other.
feel better.
Whatever makes you feel better. You're still watching Legend of Chun-Li.
Oh, I'm still gonna watch it, but I'm stating my case.
Sure. Okay. But so this is gonna be Mortal Kombat. So we're gonna open up with the trailer here, and then the same formula. We'll get into a little bit about the game, and then we're gonna move forward into the movie. So here it goes.
In each of us, there burns the fury of a warrior. In every generation, a few are chosen to prove it.
One of you three will decide the outcome of the tournament.
Three strangers will travel to the mystical realm of Outworld to defend our people against Shang Tsung. You will die. And his forces of darkness. In an ancient tournament, one more victory.
Your soul is mine.
And our world is theirs.
It has begun!
You can't run from me, Shane!
I don't need to run.
You're like the woo every time.
Combat begins.
That was fucking awesome. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was way better than the movie.
Yep.
God, I'm even more pumped now.
God, yeah, like I want to watch them. Like I forgot how bad the movie is because of that trailer. It was amazing.
I feel like it would be a constant cycle of now we're gonna go watch the movie, be let down, then listen
And
to
then watch
this
the
again.
trailer and go like, oh, okay, let's give it another shot.
yeah. I'm sure we'll get it this time.
We must have missed something.
I recognize that voice though. It's like I can hear him say, "Watch Animaniacs on Saturday on Kids WB."
What do you remember about the game, Ryan? What does your little memory bank of knowledge have about Mortal Kombat?
Well, I remember seeing it at the movie theater in the arcades.
Oh, I'm talking about the game. Okay, the arcades. Okay.
Yeah, I remember playing it at the arcades, and I spent a lot of quarters trying to play it, and I realized it's one of many games that I guess I really couldn't play to myself.
Yeah.
Because it seems like every time I would get to the second person, I'd always have a new challenger.
Well, one of the big things about this game, and it took the arcades by storm, is that the violence level of it. I mean, it piggybacked on Street Fighter. In fact, I have a clip here with Ed Boon where he talks about where they kind of came up with this idea.
Who is that?
Ed Boon is the co-creator of Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay.
He was the game designer, and they had a guy, John
Tobias.
Yeah, John Tobias. He was the art director, I guess. He was so basically Ed Boon.
What art?
Well, like
I
the
guess
art
the
design of all
backgrounds
the
and shit.
characters and the designs and stuff like that. So here, I have a little bit here.
There was a game called Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 came out, and at the time the characters were huge on the screen, and we were talking about we have digitized graphics. Their characters are so huge, but they're kind of like anime kind of drawn. How cool would it be to do, a game that had big digitized graphics? Because the bigger the images are for digitized graphics, the better they look, the more realistic they look, they're less pixelated. And so we just kept that conversation going on while we were working on our games. And then we put a demo together with using images from the movie Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and everybody got excited about it. And that was kind of like the catalyst of starting the first Mortal Kombat game. Sure.
I know you got. Yeah, that was a really big thing, pictography at the time. I've never seen it before.
Yeah. So it basically piggybacked off of Street Fighter, and from there it kind of just blew up. They took the route of doing a little more like violence in it.
A little more.
Yeah, a little more.
They took a little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little tiny, little step over the fence.
Yeah. So, but it I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the next. I've got a clip here of him kind of talking a little more, and I think I just passed it up because I don't have these. There you go. So this is another clip with him. Now this interview came from IGN. They have Unfiltered podcast where they kind of talk to different game developers or somebody in the industry. And so if you want to see that, you listen more to that episode, you can go over there. I'm not playing the whole episode, but I picked out a couple parts that I thought was interesting that pertain to what we're doing here. So they started basically off of Street Fighter. They kind of piggybacked off Street Fighter, but they made their combat like a little different. I mean, there's some similarities with, the type of button inputs to do special moves and stuff like that. But this one kind of relied heavily on like uppercuts and stuff and violence, blood. Yeah. So it
I don't remember the moves being that difficult compared to Street Fighter.
Yeah. So
all right, I seem to recall, and maybe I'm wrong, and I know Ryan played more than I did. So like Street Fighter, I recall like just the controls being a little more fluid. So like if like let's take Street Fighter for example. I'm sorry, Ryan.
You're good.
Yeah. If I wanted to like shoot a Hadouken, I would like slide my thumb from down over to forward and hit a punch, whatever that is. Shoot a Hadouken. If I remember right, Mortal Kombat didn't work that way. You had to like tap down and then tap right and then hit. And I remember that gave me a lot. Like when I started playing, I can't do any of these fucking like special moves because I'm not used to not being able to like slide.
Think was like
back forward. I think it's always been back forward. I think there is some difference in the Street Fighter is a little more fluid with the special moves, and even now Mortal Kombat, the button inputs and everything are very
rigid.
For hardcore gamers, you could tell the difference. Personally, though, I think it's just a preference. Like for me, I can do combos and stuff like that on Mortal Kombat. Like at least the recent ones I've been grinding on was like Mortal Kombat 10, 9, and then I've been playing the Injustice games, which feels similar to Mortal Kombat, but there are some differences between the way these games fight. But yeah, it is a little more rigid and the inputs are different, but I think it's really just a preference.
Probably. And I just remember it turning me off to the series.
Ed Boon actually talked about it later in that interview about possibly doing what about a Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat? That would be the two biggest fighting game franchises going at it.
I've heard that talk for years.
Yeah, but the problem he was saying with it is he would love to have that conversation if Capcom wants to have it. But he was saying, who does it? Because if Street Fighter does it, then Mortal Kombat fans are not going to really feel at home with that game. And vice versa, if Mortal Kombat does it, Street Fighter fans aren't going to feel at home with it. Now, they tried doing something like that with Tekken, but I believe they did Street Fighter versus Tekken, and they did the Street Fighter version came out. And they were supposed to do a Tekken version, and I never saw the day of light. So anyways, Mortal Kombat, when it came out in the 90s, it kind of took everything by storm. And it was it floored everybody with just the ninja stuff and the violence and the way you just punish your opponent after they're defeated with a fatality. And
that wasn't a whole lot of opponents.
What's interesting is I heard that, I actually was reading this, back in the 90s, it did so well in the arcades. they tried to make the ports over to Genesis and Nintendo. And actually, it hurt Nintendo because Nintendo and Genesis both tried to do something to where they toned down the violence of it. But like Sega Genesis did it where like it was toned down, but you could enter a button combination and unlock all the violence.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Yeah. But so like nobody, like it wasn't quote unquote said, but of course people found out, spread the word, and the Genesis version became much more popular, where it even helped generate Genesis like sales and stuff like that.
It was the closest thing you could have got to the arcade.
Yeah, and Nintendo instead just was like, no, they cut out. I think this is the first Mortal Kombat. They cut out like all the fatalities, and I think they cut out like some. Oh, they turned the blood gray instead of red. So it looked like sweat.
So our mom and dad made this one.
Yeah. So it looked like sweat instead of blood. That's what they were trying to give the appearance of to tone it down. Well, Nintendo, they learned that.
Why didn't they just do the what was it? What's that Clay Fighters game? They just have like French fries and hamburgers and shit come flying out.
So it was more like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
There you go.
So Nintendo. So when the Mortal Kombat 2 came out. Now, that was the big one that came up because they increased the roster. They really took time with this game to like make it like it was like the best one. And even still, like 3 and 4, I think still number 2 is kind of recognized as one of the best like Mortal Kombat games, at least especially for when they released at that time. And that's kind of what this
1995.
movie, the Mortal Kombat movie, was kind of a little more, took more of the inspiration off of like 2 than as much as 1. And then Nintendo learned their lesson because they actually got a lot of bad feedback and everything from toning the violence down. So then when Mortal Kombat 2 came out and it came to Nintendo, they were like, okay, you keep all the violence. All the blood and stuff.
Isn't that the one we played?
I think a little bit, but I think what we ended up playing a lot more of was 3, Ultimate. Because what happened was they released Mortal Kombat 3, but it was like there was a lot of issues with it, I think, and they had some characters that they didn't bring back from 2, and there was a lot of people upset with that. So they had the 3 Ultimate version. I think it was Ultimate version.
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and that's
that
the
does
one.
Sound like
that's the one we played, and that one had put like all the characters back in that they took out from the regular 3, and plus the extra characters, and I think they even added some stuff with fatalities and stuff like that, and they just added a bunch of stuff. So 3 Ultimate was like, okay, that's the Mortal Kombat 3 that like was good. And then from there they were working on 4, but then you got like I think the Sub-Zero mythologies came.
They had dropped Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Yeah.
They had dropped that, and I guess they were trying to do like little side stories with some of the characters, because one of the biggest characters was Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
So they tried to do a Mortal Kombat mythology Sub-Zero for N64 and PlayStation.
Yeah.
For the graphics at the time with N64, because I remember playing it for N64.
Yeah.
That was the super shitty side scroller thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the technology for live action video, so they just used text. So you just saw them being still. You saw the text at the bottom. Where PlayStation, you would actually get actual shitty FMA cutscenes.
Yeah.
Full motion actors.
Oh no, I know. I found it surprising that you get the same game for different consoles and you get those vastly different experiences.
Yeah, you got a much different experience.
Wow.
Which honestly, if I recommend for a good laugh, go watch all the cutscenes on YouTube of all the cutscenes for Mortal Kombat Mythologies for the PlayStation, and it's so unbearable.
Yeah.
So unbearable.
Well,
and they also, just to throw it out there, they also tried to drop. They wanted to do a Mythologies Liu Kang, but since Sub-Zero bombed, they decided to go in a different direction, and they went with Mortal Kombat Special Forces with Jax.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never heard of that.
I don't think much.
Please don't go look. let's just leave it at that.
But
it did, however, introduce the character Tremor for the first time.
Yeah. And I think after that is when you got to like 4, and that was received okay, but not like that much until they went to what was the Mortal Kombat? Was it Deadly Alliance or was it?
It was Deadly Alliance. The only reason Mortal Kombat 4 didn't really get any good praise because they made the mistake on porting it for the arcade and then dropping it for the PlayStation right as they did it.
Yeah.
So there was really no reason to go spend quarters at an arcade port if you already have a PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, I think arcades were kind of slowly dying out, close to that. Well, I guess they started slowly dying out when we started getting to online gameplay and stuff. But anyways, that's a different topic. But that's a little bit. I got one more clip I wanted to play. It's a little bit of what the game of Mortal Kombat and what this thing was based on. Just like on a recap, it was a big fighting game. It had a lot of interesting characters. It caused a lot of ruckus in the 90s when violence on games, especially when the spotlight was shined on it by Doom, that was another game that kind of came under fire by a lot of parents. And it really caught wind once it started coming to like Nintendo and stuff. When it was in the arcades, it really wasn't a thing. But once it started getting into Genesis and Nintendos and PlayStation and all that,
Getting into people's homes.
Getting into people's homes, it then became a big like, what the hell is this? So, but that's what made it famous, and it's been a theme for Mortal Kombat throughout. And here's a little bit of like Ed Boon was like when he realized they had something when they were developing the first Mortal Kombat.
There was one moment. There was a moment when, like I said, we were using images of Jean-Claude Van Damme and piecing together something that was kind of really crude. And but then we got, some of John's friends, knew, wushu and karate and all that stuff like that. So, we went to a costume store, we got we were trying to make a Jean-Claude Van Damme game.
Right.
And so we got we went to a costume store, got, found pieces of costume that would look like Jean-Claude did in Bloodsport. And we had one of John's friends came in and, kicked and punched and did all these things for us. And one of the moves that we had was the uppercut. It was like, you're ducking, you hit the high punch, you screen shakes, a guy flies up in the air and lands on the ground. And, when we got that happening, I remember like just that stupid little, uppercut and the guy landing and everybody, and blood flew. And all of a sudden, that's when like people were like coming into my office and like, I heard about this uppercut. You got to show me it. And I show it. 10 guys in a row would come back doing that. And that's when we were kind of like, okay, something cool is happening here. I think that.
Yeah, and that's about it. But so that uppercut was definitely something. Anytime you uppercut somebody, they just go flying in the air and blood comes flying out, and it's just like it's very satisfying. Especially with the first one, the fighting was just very simple mechanics with like quick, like a whole bunch of punches in the face.
That was another thing I couldn't
then
stand.
Uppercut. There wasn't really as much of a combo system to it. Till later.
Based on a true story.
Yeah.
I'll probably let out an uppercut when I get home.
So, getting into here, we're talk about the movie Mortal Kombat. Now, this movie came during I think it really hit the sweet spot right in the hype of Mortal Kombat. I think right when 2 came out and it was like one of the best Mortal Kombat's games. Well, they only had 1 and 2, but 2 really knocked out the park as far as what it brought to the scene, as far as the game goes. So this movie,
it dropped at the right time.
And the thing about this movie is that it's still kind of seen and talked about in some gaming circles as like one of the best video game movies that were ever made, or at least up there, at least in the top 5. And rewatching this movie, you kind of realize.
Go ahead, Tim. You almost said something. Go ahead.
This movie sucked.
Yeah, this movie, it doesn't hold up. I'm gonna put it that way. I think looking at this movie, one thing they did do is I think they nailed the game pretty well as far as you get to see Sub-Zero, and he's shooting ice balls and stuff, and you see Scorpion, and he's shooting his little animal creature thing that now in the games is kind of a spear now.
It's been a spear.
Yeah.
The entire time it's been a spear.
But they did
movie,
this
they
like
did that.
animal, like lizard thing that shoots out of his
Yeah, I
hands.
remember thinking that was strange because I've seen them recall it just being
Yeah.
like a spearhead.
Yeah,
at the
I'll
end of
give
a
it to
rope.
them that they were not trying to put every single Mortal Kombat 2 character in the movie.
No, and that was a good thing. They kind of focused on the main three, which was Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, and Johnny Cage. And I mean, they got them right too. Like Johnny Cage, movie star actor. I think even the actor they got looked pretty decent for the part. I mean, he's definitely no Jean-Claude Van Damme, but I mean,
Yeah,
he was.
Lyndon Ashby.
Yeah,
He's had a couple good parts.
Sonya Blade, she wasn't too bad either of an actress. She was from
Billy Madison.
Billy Madison. She was the school teacher.
Bridget Wilson.
Yeah, she was a school.
That was stripping for
Yes,
like the.
yes, that's her. Hmm. So, and then Liu Kang.
I'd rather watch that movie.
Yeah,
I'd rather just watch her strip.
but Liu Kang.
Robin Shue.
Yeah, and he. Those actors, I think, were they looked the part okay.
There was a guy in my high school who looked a lot like Liu Kang.
Yeah,
And people used to call him Liu Kang.
yeah.
And there was one day I hadn't seen him in a while. And, I was asking a buddy of mine. I was like, whatever happened to Liu Kang? He said, oh, someone kicked him in the pelvis and broke his pelvis.
Wow, so much for Earth's Mightiest Warrior.
Right, that's what I said. I was just like, he didn't, so much for bicycle kicks.
What?
Fatality.
Someone kicked him in the dick and broke his pelvis.
Fatality.
Damn.
But
That's kind of what happened in Deadly Alliance.
yeah, yeah, they just killed him in that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the way they shook it up in that game, was like killing Liu Kang up front and
Who
everybody was
won
like, what?
4 Mortal Kombat tournaments in a row.
Well, this movie, getting back to this movie picks up where it's basically I think they did good by keeping the plot simple.
A handful of people on a leaky boat are gonna save the world.
Exactly.
And that's basically
Can't stand Raiden, dude.
That's pretty much
Raiden.
yeah.
that's the Highlander.
Yeah, I think I got the little the Lord Raiden like the laugh. His little laugh
Oh yeah.
freaking kills me.
Sorry.
But and they keep the plot simple, okay? These guys, they go, it's a tournament. They get on a raggedy boat, go to some mystical
Rickety boat.
island.
No, leaky boat.
Yeah, the leaky boat. Go to a mystic island, and there they're in a tournament. And like slowly they find out that it's like not just you beat them up and that's it. It's like, no, you kill people, which I thought was interesting in one of the main scenes.
It wasn't slow.
Yeah.
And the revelation did not have the impact that it should have had.
No, this is actually Johnny Cage's response for the reaction that they just saw some guy go up against Sub-Zero, get frozen, bust into pieces, and his head is by Shang Tsung's feet. And this is Johnny's reaction.
Come to a little tournament, he said. Be good for the career, he said. Yeah, right. Lou.
That's it. So like the reaction to it is just like, oh, it's just something that happens. Like death, and I feel like this movie had to do
Not
that.
even just death. A blue ninja froze a man in mid-flying kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is the freak out. Okay, this is the only freak out you get from them from seeing all this mystical shit.
We got a guy with things coming out of his hand. We got another guy who freezes stuff. And then there's a man who, as far as I can tell, is made out of electricity. I mean, how did he disappear like that? What is going on here? Who is this guy?
Let's just think this through. There is a rational explanation for this.
He's Raiden, god of lightning and protector of the realm of Earth.
Oh, great.
Oh, there's your rational explanation.
That's it. That's the explanation we get for everything.
He's Raiden.
Yep. And he's Sub-Zero. And he's Scorpion.
I can't help but sit here and feel bad for that ninja Sub-Zero froze.
Yeah, the dude who's like, I guess, spent his entire life. And they
No,
were like,
wait.
here's your time to shine.
All those ninjas are ripped as fuck. Like, they're in better shape than the heroes. They're the same. Like, all of them with the little red hoods on and no shirts on. They are like
Those
muscles.
were some fucking beasts.
Muscles on top of muscles. Like, I want to pick those guys to protect me than like Liu Kang and Sonya Blade. Sonya Blade don't look like she's got a muscle on her body.
Dude, that fight with Sonya Blade, that's the cop chick?
Yeah.
Sonya, okay.
She's special forces.
Her fight with Kano was absolute shit. That was a laughable debacle. It looked like the actress wanted to like film that herself with no like stunt doubles, but she had zero training.
That's actually what happened because I researched it.
Knew it.
I researched it, and she was the actress who was like, "I'm going to do all my own stunts."
It looked terrible.
I was telling Seth about this about a week ago. I feel like when he got him in the room, like, okay, throw a punch, throw a kick, duck. All right, you are good for this movie.
Look, I've got this. I thought it was great because the sound effects in this movie with people fighting is crazy. Not just that.
And that music, though. Tell me what to fight.
Wait till she gets kicked in the stomach. That's like.
Is this what she's fighting, Kano?
Yes, this is Kano.
I know what you're talking about.
Just the sound effects of that. The scream. There it goes.
There it was.
Baby.
Man, he was very tough.
This is another one. This is the first. This is like the opening first fight, and just the screams and the noises they make. Like here.
This is the Shang Tsung.
This is like the dream sequence.
No, well, yeah, kind of. It's Shang Tsung beating up his brother.
Yeah.
Liu Kang's brother.
Yeah, and then later gets a telegram says, "Brother dead."
Here you go.
I got a quick question about that fight.
Yeah.
I was always pondering, did Chang fight in a tournament and got all the way to Shang Tsung and died? Or he just decided to fight Chang?
I don't know because
I don't think they bothered to explain that.
But I mean, that's what he does for Sonya Blade because in this movie, it's even from the beginning, he tells Kano, "Get her. I want her on this thing." And then throughout the movie, there's like even he tells him later, like, "Hey, you're gonna fight Sonya Blade, but just rough her up a little bit. Do not kill her." Because you could tell Shang Tsung had it from the beginning that he wanted to fight Sonya Blade to ensure the 10th victory so they could invade Earthworld. Because that's basically what's on there.
So Chang would be the 9th victory.
Yes, because that's basically the storyline of this movie. The storyline is that they have these tournaments. After 10 tournaments winning,
They can invade
Outworld
Earthrealm.
can invade Earthrealm. Outworld is where all the crazy, like Goro and Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn, who's just mentioned and not seen to the very end of the movie.
They already stormed and blitzkrieged Edenia, another realm, and they fused them.
Yeah.
So they set their sights on Earthrealm, and the tournament was already made by the Temple of Light or the White Lotus Society, which is Liu Kang's temple.
Yeah.
They where their greatest warrior was Kung Lao.
Yeah.
And
That was the dude with the hat.
Yeah, in the
was a
games
hat.
he's the dude with the hat, but like
he's
they don't.
he's a descendant of that Kung Lao.
Yeah.
And they
just kind of mention it.
Right.
In here.
They had a Mortal Kombat tournament within their Shaolin temple, and then they decided, well, we want to invade Earthrealm. Well, they went to Elder Gods. They said you can't. But what if we participate in a Mortal Kombat tournament?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, if you win 10 consecutive times, you can invade Earthrealm.
Yeah.
So they just cheated by throwing Goro in to win all 9 times.
Yeah. So, which...
And nobody thought to just punch him in the dick.
Like Johnny Cage.
Let's dance.
I couldn't get a good audio clip, but Goro sounds like the roaring sounds like so much of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze, where they had the turtle character and then they had
Tokar and Razor.
Yeah, Tokar.
Same guy.
That's what I thought.
Frank Welker.
That's what I thought.
Frank Welker, he's known for, I know I talked about this in the Super Mario Bros. Podcast. Go and listen to it right now.
Yeah. Well, after you're done this one.
Yeah, right, yeah.
No, right now.
I don't know who to agree with, Seth. But, Frank Welker, he is a very famous voice actor, very known for playing the voice of Fred from Scooby-Doo. He's also known for playing Ray Stantz from the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
He's played Megatron and Starscream from the Transformers movies and cartoon. He also did do the voice of the Goombas on the Super Mario Brothers movies. So he's done a lot of work. And yes, he is the voice of Tokar and Razor from The Secret of the Ooze, and he did play the voice of Goro.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It sounded like the Goro's screams and I was like, this sounds familiar. And I was like, Ninja Turtles, the second movie, the dog creature, which was like Tokar, or was that Razor? Which one was the dog? Which one was the turtle?
I want to say Tokar was
the dog. It was a dog.
I want to say Tokar was the turtle, and Razor was
Razor. So it was Razor. Whatever one it is, they sounded similar. I picked it up and I was like, this sounds similar. So yeah, I guess so.
Everybody out there listening, if I am wrong about what I just said, don't come correct me. I'm not going to care.
But so we have those three. Too bad Jax couldn't make it because he's just mentioned here.
60 seconds to target. Jax, is the perimeter secured?
Lockdown tight.
It better be. I want Kano.
Trust me, Sonya.
I trust one person on this planet, Jax. You're talking to her.
So his name is said twice.
Right there, I decided that I hated this movie. All it took was that line. That's it. And I was like, oh, this movie blows. Like right there.
Yeah, I'm still baffled with the fact that he's her commanding officer.
Yeah. I don't think... See, okay, in the game, he is. In this movie, though, nothing's really
like
said.
Yeah, there's no...
She could be his commanding officer just for this movie's sake, and there's no... Because this is all his lines. I cut a clip of all his lines. This is all Jax's lines.
Lockdown tight. Trust me, Sonya.
What is that?
Hold on. Sonya, don't get on that thing. Hey, Sonya.
Hey, Sonya.
That's it.
I timed it. That's like 3 seconds.
Less than what Final Fantasy VII Advent Children says mother.
Way less.
But so Jax is like nothing to do in this movie other than just kind of. We shouldn't even mention it. I guess they were just trying
pointless.
to. Yeah, it was just
stupid.
Pointless.
Name drop.
Yeah,
but, and then the club scene where she's just opening fire in the club and everybody's just still dancing.
I couldn't. Yeah,
I was like, who's playing in the background? You couldn't even hear the bullets flying. Nobody's even getting hit by bullets. Everybody's mosh pitting.
Yep. So this movie, the fight scenes,
they're okay. Like the choreography's okay.
They were
but
okay.
You know what? But you know what was interesting? And I think we'll get into this a little bit later when we get into the facts of everything. But the scorpion fight and the reptile fight were added after the movie was done. So
the one where Johnny Cage fights.
Well,
Scorpion?
okay, the scorpion fight was in the original cut up until they go into the netherworld. Like the fight ended with Johnny Cage doing a shadow kick.
Yeah.
And then Scorpion was defeated. That was it. And reptile fight didn't even happen.
All right, so
bad.
So yeah. The original movie just had Johnny Cage in the forest.
Yes.
Fighting him.
Yes.
Dodging the spear.
Yes.
And then running.
And shadow kicking him. And that would be it. There would be like no real fight between him and Scorpion, basically.
See, I was hoping you would say that even that was added in afterwards because the way that comes about in the movie, do you remember?
It just kind of happens.
It just fucking happens.
Yeah, it's
like
just
there's no
cut
setup.
in there.
It was like, all right,
Sonya kills Kano, and then here we are.
Yeah, it was like, okay, competition is beginning. We're on the beach. We're fighting in these little like sand makeshift arenas, and it's I think Liu Kang fights someone, and then Sonya fights Kano. on the beach, and then it's just next scene, no transition, Johnny Cage in a forest, and then there's Scorpion, and I was like, what the fuck is going
Sub-Zero
on?
happens that way too. We get this line,
To win your next match, use the element which brings life.
and then we get into Sub-Zero and Liu Kang's fight.
Stupid.
And in that fight, thank God somebody dropped a bucket of water, which is the thing that brings life. Bitch, just tell me.
Just tell me throw the water. Yeah,
that just ends
You've
up.
been around for 10,000
Which-
years. You should know that these cryptic dumbass messages are not the best way to communicate.
Yeah, and then what's up with just doing this force field thing in the corner and then just like letting it grow more and more until whoops, he gets a bottle of water and throws it at him.
That's like, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
But yeah, I think some of these fights, the best fights in here were the fights they added. So Reptile fight was a pretty good fight.
Yeah.
And then the Scorpion fight at the end, the stuff they added was pretty good too. Everything else, I mean, you said you like Liu Kang's first fight where he fought the
with the
unnamed
black dude. Yeah, just
black
a random dude.
Yeah.
Which
I just-
honestly, I recognized him from a TV show back when I was growing up on Saturdays called WMAC Masters, which is a martial arts show, which was kind of like wrestling but martial arts. Yeah. And I remember seeing him and a bunch of all those other guys that was there are all like martial arts coordinators and stunt doubles for action movies.
A lot of these guys were martial arts stunt doubles that were doing like all the fight scenes and all that work. Like even Scorpion is he was actually a stunt guy and he was doing like pretty good, or he had like a really good martial arts record or something. And they seen him doing a little bit of work and then they're like, "Hey, you want to be Scorpion?" And he's like, "Okay." And then they just made him Scorpion because he wears a mask all
He
the
didn't
time.
have to say a damn word. They just have those like cut recordings of him like, "Get over here."
And that's
Or, like,
actually Ed Boon. That's actually the co-creator. He's the one who's doing the voices for Scorpion like that. The guy who co-created Mortal Kombat.
You know, when I was
You got
younger,
nothing else to do.
what did it for me with those fight scenes was the techno music they added to it.
Oh yeah.
It really pumped it.
Mortal Kombat!
Oh man. Guys, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Even the reptile fight scene, just how it starts with that techno.
Reptile fight scene, that's my favorite fight. I think that's probably my favorite fight out of the whole thing.
I'd say
it was pretty good.
I'd say the part 2 of the Johnny Cage and Scorpion fight, where he goes, "Welcome." He's just kicking him around. You know, you hear is, Do you have that drop?
I do have the welcome drop, but my soundboard doesn't have enough, so I'd have to go switch out stuff.
I know we were talking about all the grunts and the noises.
I cut a bunch of stuff, and I could get to it, but I'd have to set another board. Let me see if I can. I think I'll put it.
I
up
mean,
over
I know
here.
we're talking about all the grunts and all, especially for the Sonya and Kano fight. But look at that Johnny Cage and Scorpion fight. It's like,
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I got some of that already that I played. I didn't really get all of that, but I did get this.
Welcome! Welcome!
That theme song was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then I also, of course, get back to my Mortal Kombat board. I just got a cut of this. Because it's so ridiculous.
Is that what you like jerk off to later?
Basically.
There we go.
That guy has Australian accent.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
Kano was ridiculous. He was so stupid.
Oh, baby. You miss me, eh?
They actually really liked that actor. They had somebody else, and they saw him, and they were like, "He's the guy," and that was Kano. And then I think a couple years later, he died, and so he's dead in real life. And then they were saying that they had another guy play Kano, and I think the Legacy,
Mortal Kombat Legacy, who
and
was a
then
great martial artist.
And then he died like a year or so later after playing
recently passed
Kano as
away.
well. A couple years later after playing him. So yeah, whoever plays Kano dies.
He's also in the second Ip Man movie.
Oh yeah, the Hitman.
Oh, who's he in that movie?
He's the boxer.
Oh, really?
He's the boxer that beats up Sammo Hung.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He played Kano in the
Well, he's the
Mortal
boxer
Kombat
that
Legacy.
kind of beat the shit out of Hitman for a little
Yeah.
while there.
Yeah.
He gave him some trouble.
Yeah, he recently passed away like a year ago.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
So
Hello, Shambhala baby.
So we get through this. They fight all these fights. They end up at the end going to Outworld because Shang Tsung wants to fight Sonya Blade to ensure his win. And
So that was I didn't understand why. It was just so he can get an easy win. And,
I believe
invade.
so.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I feel like. It was just an easy win because they were like,
That
"You're
makes
a
sense.
coward" and all
Yeah,
that. Because I mean,
it's like,
but it's like hey, if you think at a business standpoint, you got 9 wins. You
Yeah,
got
that's what
1
I'm
left,
saying,
You want
yeah.
to get a secure win.
There you
You're
go.
a sexist. You think you could beat up women, which is probably true because men are biologically built stronger. You know, than women. So
Yes, they are.
it's an assured win. So he
They
grabs her,
probably wrote that into the script
Which-
after they found out that the
which is
actress
kinda
wanted to do all
weird.
of her own scenes.
Yeah, which is kind of weird that he wants
to ensure a win for Outworld. She won her own fight.
He saw her fight Kano and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got this."
Shao Kahn will be pleased.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's the one from Billy Madison.
Yeah. So- she's just a school teacher. And she just recently became a cop.
Yeah.
Wait. I thought the other chick was the school teacher one.
Who?
The 10,000-year-old apprentice chick. I thought that's who you were talking about.
No.
We're talking about Bridget Wilson.
No, Bridget Wilson.
I don't want to
Chick-
watch that shit. She was ugly. Nothing to do with that.
No, she's played in a couple different stuff too, but no, she wasn't in Billy Madison.
Oh, okay.
No. But Katana was honestly, she wasn't needed in this movie.
No, that was fucking stupid.
Yeah, she gives him the mystic knowledge about the bucket of water.
All right.
And then she gives him this.
In the Black Tower, you will face 3 challenges. You must face your enemy, you must face yourself, and you must face your worst fear.
Okay.
I don't really want to sound sexist, but I was really disappointed that she wasn't wearing her video game costume.
Oh.
Just all her titties hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan's like, yeah, that's what I want.
They would have had to stuff some balloons in there. or
Dude,
some
nipples would be popping out like crazy. So, I mean, there's no way.
I'm okay with this.
But, so she gives him that. This is because most of this movie, it's a fighting tournament.
It's just fighting.
It's just a fighting
not
tournament.
a whole lot of rhyme or reason.
Yeah, but I think that's where this movie does win and why I think it went over so well. It has less of a plot than I think Street Fighter did. Street Fighter tried to be a little more complicated than this. This movie just was it's a tournament. They're fighting to save the world. That's it.
Is it me or this movie was pretty much a 90s version of Enter the Dragon?
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of things similar to Enter the Dragon to this
That's
movie.
how I saw this movie.
Yeah, they copied a lot of stuff.
Except Enter the Dragon does not suck.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
I
really wanted somebody to say that.
So at the end, Katana gives Liu Kang his 3 you need to face your enemies, which no shit.
Stop being cryptic, you
Face
stupid
yourself.
10,000-year-old bitch.
And this is Liu Kang facing himself.
Is that all you've got, sorcerer? Liu Kang! I can see into your soul. You will die.
Face yourself.
You can look into my soul, but you don't own it.
That's it. He faced himself. Then he runs up the steps. And then it's face your worst fear.
I didn't see the end of the movie because by that time my wife was watching it because she didn't have anything, and she was like, "I fucking hate this movie." And so I kind of started zoning out because she started complaining a lot.
I thought they were gonna kind of do the game where he faces himself, so he's gonna fight a Robin Shoe in a different color pants.
That would have been awesome, but no. Instead,
it's
he
like
just
player
makes
1
it
versus player 2.
Yeah,
he just makes a quick comment about you're not gonna take my soul, and then he walks up the steps. He faced himself. Good
There
job.
you go. Good
There
job.
it is. Thank you. Thanks for that, Katana. Thank you for giving me the mystic messages I need.
All right. So early on in the movie, he sees Katana and they're he's making eyes at her or whatever, some shit. And then I forgot exactly who, but Shang Tsung basically, I think it might have been Kano. But anyway, Shang Tsung basically says we got to do whatever we can to make sure that she doesn't get anywhere near those humans, because if she gets near those humans, we're screwed. It's gonna throw a wrench in the gears. Not too long after that, why the fuck is she fighting Liu Kang?
I don't know. Just
What
so she
the
can have a
hell
fight
was that?
scene.
So she can get close to him.
So she can get as close as literally as close as possible.
Yep.
We cannot let her get close to these people. Next scene, they're wrestling. Like,
Yeah.
what?
I know we're just skipping around here, but I just still I'm gonna go back to it. The dining room scene.
That was my favorite.
Where
they just start turning over tables
they're
and shit.
prepping the meal. They're prepping all this feast for these guys, and they're just like, "Hey guys, go ahead, sit there and eat. But first, we're gonna give you a demonstration. All you do is run in and flip over all their
All
shit.
that food is just flipped over.
Can you imagine the guys back in the kitchen like, "What the fuck?
God damn it!
Are you serious?"
They probably were like, we're not going to eat any of this shit anyways. You see how ripped we are? We got to keep this up.
Jeez, again.
Yeah.
That ninja.
That was my favorite scene.
I think when he shattered to pieces, I kind of wondered if like his buddies ran up like, "Oh man, I wonder if Larry's." Oh my God, Larry! Dude, what happened?
Sub-Zero.
It's like he what? He did what? He's been preparing for his whole life.
How long did he last? He lasted like 7 seconds.
Are you
like,
serious?
fuck!
He just wrote to his mom the other day. I'm not telling his mom. Oh my God, Larry. Oh my God.
Someone ship his head over there and hope it doesn't melt.
Well, it's weird since I mentioned that. I said that at work, where I work, there's a guy who's like a huge Mortal Kombat fan, and I told him that same thing. So now, him, myself, and somebody else are thinking about trying to do a cartoon called Mortal Kombat: The Return of Larry.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Where the premise is, it takes place in the Netherrealm, and the Netherrealm is actually there's a bar called Netherrealm, and it's pretty much where Noob Saibot, who's the original Sub-Zero, is just sitting there with all the other people from Netherrealm, and then you see Larry and all his buddies from the Brotherhood of Shadow, where he's just like, "Hey, you remember that guy? Remember what he did? Yeah. Hey, you remember this? Yeah.
I should have got that. I wish you would have mentioned that to me. I would have got his fight scene clip.
And then you see Noob Saibot just look at him with his drinks like, I don't remember you. And so he goes, fight me, and he runs and jumps at him, and Noob Saibot his shadow comes out, grabs him, and sights him.
There you go.
And then it's just like, whoa, man, he said he's gonna fight. Oh my God, Larry. Are you serious? He's been pairing that for like 100 years.
Somebody make that happen. Let's just get this going.
Yeah, we're talking about it. And we're actually talking about it, and we want to work on that.
Well, here's a couple of... So, of course, just to finish it up, because we were jumping around, but we were kind of towards the end with that Shang Tsung thing. They have the fight, faces himself, faces his fear. There's like a little fight scene between them, and, hits Shang Tsung in the spikes. He's dead. Everybody's happy till Shao Kahn pops up and he's like, "I've come for your souls." And then it's just ready for the second.
Best scene of the movie. To me, it's one of the best scenes of the movie because at the time, I really just wanted Shao Kahn to come out, and then everybody's just like, "Yeah, let's fight him." And then I'm thinking the sequel is gonna just blow our minds. Yeah. And the entire time I'm thinking, because it ends with the theme song, and it's just like. This is awesome. I can't wait for the second movie.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember from the second movie is someone gets their head bit off by a gargoyle or some shit like that.
Jade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Jade was actually supposed to be in this movie. Actually, we're going to get into that. This is some of the little trivia facts and stuff like that about this movie. So we'll get into that and see what you have to say. Brandon Lee was originally cast to be Johnny Cage. Yeah. But then he died. In The Crow.
Did die.
So,
I know.
He died like a year early.
Yeah, so he was actually supposed to be Johnny Cage. So I don't know what that would have done to that, but it'd probably been...
It wouldn't have helped anything.
Yeah, probably not. Okay.
Because honestly, Johnny Cage's character was probably one of the best characters. At least the most entertaining.
Yeah.
Everybody was just pretty much blah.
Yeah.
Originally, the character of Kano was Japanese American. However, Ed Boon and John Tobias were so impressed with how Trevor Goddard portrayed him that they retconned Kano's history in future games to make him Australian, which they thought was Goddard's nationality. Later they learned that although Goddard gave Kano an Australian accent, Godard himself was actually born in England, but had claimed to be of Australian descent.
Wow.
So I don't know what that's about, but that's what happened. And I don't know if I'm messing his name up, but it looks like Godard, Goddard.
Maybe Goddard.
He was more like Kano Dundee.
The film soundtrack went platinum in less than 2 weeks.
I bet.
Skate countries everywhere was playing that song.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme turned down the role of Johnny Cage to do Street Fighter. So
I mentioned that.
Bridget Wilson, which was the Sonya Blade, performed all her own stunts, refusing to use a double, up to and including the fight scenes.
That was awful. The whole fight scene, I was like, this. As soon as she's like, I remember right, as soon as she like took her like fighting stance and she like put her arms up, I was like, what the shit is that? And it was just like, no, she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. And it's very satisfying to have that confirmed.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg, an avid fan of video games, in particular the Mortal Kombat series, was set to make a cameo appearance. He was going to be the director in Johnny Cage's
like right
movie,
in the beginning,
because it opens up with him doing a movie spot.
Let's dance.
Yeah, and it's doing the
You
fight
can
scene.
kind of tell because the director looked kind of like Steven
They
Spielberg.
did. They said that they tried to make somebody. They got somebody to resemble Spielberg.
Why didn't they just get Spielberg?
Couldn't afford him.
No, that's not what happened. It was scheduling conflicts that forced him to back out. So the director they got just resembled Spielberg.
I seriously doubt they could afford him.
It sounded like he wanted to do it.
Chris Casamassa, I guess how you say his name?
Casamassa.
Chris Casamassa is actually Red Dragon from WMAC Masters.
Oh, okay. Well, he was hired as a stunt ninja. At the audition, the producers were so impressed he got the part of Scorpion.
He also played the part of Scorpion in the Mortal Kombat TV series as well.
I didn't know that was a TV series.
Don't look it up.
Robin Shue originally turned down.
It's like, please.
Robin Shue originally turned down the opportunity to audition for the movie, assuming that he'd be cast as a stereotypical Asian villain. He reconsidered at the advice of his agent. Cameron Diaz was actually set to play Sonya Blade.
That would have been better.
But she broke her wrist before filming and then was replaced by who we got.
It probably saved her career.
I don't know. That's probably not true because Mortal Kombat was actually well received. It made a lot of money. They made a sequel because of it. It's recognized as one of the best video game movies made, and I think for the time that was true. I think for the time in the 90s, I mean, they nailed everything as far as it being a game adaptation. There was a Mortal Kombat all in it. The biggest problem, I think, was not the biggest. One of the problems with this movie was the fact that you had to be knowledgeable of Mortal Kombat to really appreciate the movie. Because if you went in there, because I was watching this movie thinking, like, what if I didn't know anything about Mortal Kombat? This movie would be bonkers. They got on a boat. There's like spirits, people taking souls. There's like guys shooting out things out of their hands and freezing people. No reason whatsoever. There's a reptile creature that turns into a person to fight. And it's like, what? This girl is 10,000 years old and you just said that. And it's like, okay.
Just accept it.
Yeah, just accept. That's what this movie does. It's like, oh, this is like this. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It's pretty much Enter the Dragon on 2 hits of ecstasy.
Yeah, basically. There's no explanation for anything.
Psychedelic trip.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. That's kind of what this movie is.
Totally off topic. Wasn't Enter the Dragon the one where he was fighting? That was Bruce Lee fighting that
guy with the claw.
That was that movie. But wasn't that the scene where he was fighting like this white dude,
Ohana?
And all right, while they were filming, that dude like cut Bruce Lee's arm like with a bottle. There's a scene where they fight with like a broken bottle. And while they were filming, they cut his arm, and then he just kind of didn't make a big deal out of it. And that scene where they fight later, and it's like that scene where Bruce Lee has that like running sidekick and like hits him into the crowd and everything. Mm-hmm. Bruce Lee actually kicked him,
Yeah.
broke his ribs, and I think he broke his arm.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see when you watch it knowing that, you see him fall into that group, and he's just like, those guys are trying to catch him and everything. And it's like, shit, Bruce Lee kicked the shit out of that guy.
Did you know Jackie Chan is also in that movie?
No.
And Bruce Lee fights him.
What?
Yeah, it's 2 seconds. It's like one of the henchmen. Because there's like a bunch of dudes that are just throwing themselves at Bruce Lee, and one of them, Bruce Lee, actually grabs him by the head and he pulls him back.
And you can see that it's Jackie Chan.
You can see it's Jackie Chan.
Huh. Anyway, that was totally off topic.
Go check it out.
The original
watch that movie.
The original screenplay for the film was more faithful to the game, and that it had graphic violence and strong language, and it was going to be R-rated.
Why didn't they do that?
That's all the Mario supposed to be R-rated. Why? I don't know. But
Bring
that
it
was
to
supposed to be
life.
R-rated.
See, that doesn't make sense. This would have made sense.
This would have made sense. But all these movies, Street Fighter was also supposed to be R-rated. All
That
these
doesn't
movies
make
had
sense.
R-rated scripts. But the point is, like, this is like the third or fourth movie we've done that was like in the 90s, and it had an R-rated script originally and got toned down to PG-13.
Wider audience.
That's what I'm assuming. Because they did that with The Mask too. The Mask is based off a comic book.
The original
that's
content
super
is really violent.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so they toned it down to PG-13, and it got to a wider audience, and it was a success.
Yeah,
and you know what? For that instance, Mortal Kombat, even if you look at it now and says this is crap, at that time was great, and it did over $100 million in the box office on a $24 million budget.
That the merchandise and everything.
Yeah. So I mean, and then that song too went platinum from the movie. Like everything.
Everybody went out and bought that soundtrack for that song.
Yeah.
Not knowing that bands like Rammstein is on that same CD.
Oh yeah.
But you're just like, oh, but let's play the first song.
Yeah.
The first track.
Sonya Blue.
The locations in Thailand were so remote that they were only accessible by boat. So the cast, crew, and equipment had to be transported by long canoes.
Wow.
Sounds like a lot of work for this movie. It enjoyed a 3-week run at the top of the box office in America. So for 3 weeks, it was at the top of the box office in America when it first came out.
It was nuts.
On-set injuries were surprisingly minimal despite the amount of action involved. The worst injury was when Lyndon Ashby mildly bruised his kidney in one of the fight scenes. That sounds like it was the worst.
What was that?
That's
Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage.
Oh, Johnny Cage.
Yeah. Okay, Luke. No, I'm not worried about that one. This is about his special moves. We all know that shit. If you play games and stuff, you know what special moves he did. Okay, scripted but not filmed was a scene where Shang Tsung allowed the combatants a night to bury Art Lean and mourn his loss. That's the black guy.
Random black guy.
Yeah, that's the guy that fought
Why were
Goro.
we supposed to care about that motherfucker?
I don't know. Like,
Because he had a conversation with Johnny Cage.
Yeah, like they just needed a character to sacrifice.
Yeah, because you saw him talk to Johnny Cage, and they just had a small little conversation.
They just clicked.
And then you saw him way later on in the fight
Yes.
with Goro.
That was it.
I mean, if he was in and out throughout the movie, and then he dies, okay,
I would have maybe cared.
Right.
But no, that was, you just meet him once, and then next time you see him, he gets his ass beat by Goro.
Actually, I'm trying to find it right now. Give me 1 second. I think this is it. Yeah. I wanted to get this one because this is like their reaction when the guy dies. I think this is it.
Good old Sonya.
Yeah, screaming like no. And then the funny part about that to me was, I don't think Sonya had a line of dialogue to that guy.
No.
But when he dies, so yeah, go figure. So anyway,
I'm sure she turned to Johnny and said, "Don't you know that guy?" Actually, I do.
Okay. So anyways,
do we care about this guy?
In the scene, they buried him at the Garden of Statues underneath the statue of Kung Lao. This is the only place where Kung Lao appears in any of the movies. Also scripted but not filmed was a battle between Sonya Blade and Jade.
Thank God.
So Jade
I couldn't
was
have another
supposed to
fight
be
with
there.
Sonya Blade.
Yeah, it looked like they just gave her one fight. I think that's all she had.
They saw how shitty it was, and they were like,
Yeah.
Well, she had the fight with Kano, and then she fought as a group with Liu Kang and Johnny Cage
when they all
got
met
ambushed.
after the dining room.
Yeah,
they all
that was
met
the
up.
only other time you saw her fight.
Yeah.
Which was for the best.
Let's see. Liu Kang. Oh, this is, I think, funny. So Liu Kang was supposed to duplicate the acrobatic flips of Sub-Zero's down the ramp during their fight. So when Sub-Zero was flipping down that ramp,
They gave him one random like cartwheel thing.
Wait.
And I was
This is what happened. Sub-Zero's, he's supposed to duplicate the acrobatic flips of Sub-Zero's down the ramp during the fight, but Robin Shou couldn't pull it off successfully. After a few takes, instead of the acrobats, he just ran down the ramp yelling like a maniac. They just used that shot.
See, I don't remember that scene you're talking about.
No, you don't remember when he ran down the ramp going like, yeah, because they were fighting on that top part, and then they come down the ramp where the bucket of water is.
Yeah.
And Sub-Zero's flipping down the ramp, and Liu Kang just runs down the ramp.
Oh, I remember there was some scene in the middle of that fight, and it was like it was just like they mashed it in, and it was just him doing a cartwheel over like some little object, and then like whoosh, and then it just went back to fighting. And I was like, why the fuck was that there? Like it didn't fit. I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, now I'm thinking about it. But like in this generation now of movies coming out, I see actors actually training for certain parts like that now.
Oh yeah,
like totally random movie, the Batman vs Superman movie.
Yeah,
where they actually made Ben Affleck gain like pounds of muscle.
Oh yeah, he got
because they had that workout scene in there. He was a fucking beast.
Yeah,
back in the '90s, just like.
Yeah, they were just like,
the part.
Okay.
You're good. We'll just have the stunt.
Oh, this is pretty great. Sean Connery was the first choice for Raiden.
The other Highlander?
Yes. That would have been
Ramirez.
hilarious to hear Sean Connery delivering those lines of Raiden.
Sure, you will outstand the outcome of the tournament.
Hot shingles, you say?
Yeah. Robin Shou said the original script, he was supposed to fall in love with Katana. Mm-hmm. He said he was looking forward to it, but they thought we had so much action, we don't want to add romance to it, so they cut it out. So I guess there was more scenes with Katana.
Because they had that first scene where he saw her and he was like making eyes at her, making a thing out of it, and then they just kind of like didn't make anything out of it.
Yeah, didn't Johnny Cage say something to him about her?
About her being out of his league because she's 10,000 years old.
When a woman looks at it like that really means something. And then they walk away.
The stunt ninjas were actually planned to be the Tarkatan. Tarkatan, that's how you say it.
I don't know what that is.
Baraka.
That's the Baraka guys. The guys that look like Baraka.
It's Baraka's race.
Yeah.
Oh, like the big teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, the sharp teeth and the blades that come out of their like...
It's pretty much Melina. Half Tarkatan, half human.
Yeah. So they were actually supposed to be that, but I'm assuming it was probably way too much money with the effects or with the costume designs and stuff.
Just made them some.
So they would just like give them red ski mask and then have them let out their shirt so they look swole as shit, and that'll be good enough.
Spray them all with oil, make them run down the hallway and spray them with oil.
This opened at the top of the box office with $23 million, nearly 8 times more than the week's other new release, The Babysitter's Club.
I don't even know what that is.
How the hell did it beat The Babysitter's Club?
What is The Babysitter's Club?
I'm not sure.
It's based on a little novelty books.
Oh yeah, those little books. It was kind of like the Hardy Boys, and then they had the Babysitter's Club.
It's not ringing any bells.
You probably didn't read when you were a kid, right?
I didn't read at all. I didn't know how to read.
There you go.
Oh.
I just learned like
now
20 minutes
ago.
Now I feel like
a dick even saying that. I take it back. I'm sorry.
Gregory McKinney replaced Steve James as Jax, who died a year before production of the film. Then Gregory McKinney later died in 98. Both actors died at 41.
So Jax and Kano are like Death Notes.
Wow. There you go. Well, no, not really, because Jax was then played by Michael Jai White in the second one.
Yeah.
And then he also played him in the Legacy one too, Jax.
What is this Legacy movie? I didn't know there was.
This is
It's a YouTube channel.
We actually will probably cover that in this.
All right, so that was an actual thing because all I saw were like teasers and like trailers.
Well, okay, there was a trailer, right? And they were talking about doing it as a movie, but then I guess I don't know if they just couldn't get the funding or something, but they decided, never mind, we're just gonna do like YouTube videos.
But now
so then they did these YouTube videos. They released this is Scorpions, and this is Sub-Zeros, and this is Liu Kang's, and this is Kung Lao's.
Each episode,
and they were like more realistic and grimy.
Yeah, that was the one where they were. The trailer was like they were in like an interrogation room or some shit like that.
Yeah. They're actually not bad, especially if you consider these are just little YouTube videos.
It did 2 seasons.
They did 2 seasons, and they actually sell it as like a Blu-ray disc. Like I seen it at Best Buy. They were like, "Oh, you can buy the Legacy."
And I actually get to meet Johnny Cage too in person.
Woohoo!
Casper Van Dien.
Woohoo!
Starship Troopers.
Woohoo!
This is a big deal to me, so.
All right. As of April 2014, the film sits as the 4th highest grossing video game adaptation ever released, behind Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, and Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back.
So what do you think about the reboot that they're working on?
For what?
Mortal Kombat.
I've heard about it, but I haven't really seen much on it. But I have been hearing some stuff like they're
giving it to James Wan.
Okay, I heard that. I did.
Giving it to who?
James Wan.
He's the guy who did Fast and Furious 7.
Saw.
And he did
He's
done some
Conjuring,
decent stuff.
Insidious.
Yeah.
Those are some big movies.
Yeah, he's done some pretty good stuff.
And now they're giving him Mortal Kombat.
Reptile was originally not included in the movie, but was added in response to focus groups being unimpressed with the original fights in the film. Robin Shou and Paul W.S. Anderson noted that neither knew what Reptile's lizard form would look like until after filming, making the pre-fight sequence difficult to shoot.
Well, nobody knew what his reptile form looked like.
Yeah. And in fact, this is a little more on that, too.
It looked like shit.
So the film...
It looked really bad.
Yeah, Reptile looked...
It looked terrible.
Yeah, because in the video game, all you saw was his head when he rips his mask off and uses a fatality.
Yeah.
You really didn't see any kind of reptilian form.
I didn't know that.
The film was actually going to come out in May, but was pushed to August, and it was due to the extensive reshoots to extend the Johnny Cage versus Scorpion fight, well as add the fight with Liu Kang and human Reptile. In the original cut, Johnny Cage was supposed to defeat Scorpion with the Shadow Kick in the forest, as opposed to being sucked into the portal created by the latter. He said you can notice this when the fight does indeed end with the aforementioned kick. They said even in early TV spots of the film show Cage making contact with Scorpion and no portal appearing.
I do remember that.
As for the reptile scene, it originally ended with his reptilian form being sucked into the gargoyle body, but not actually morphing into the Green Ninja.
So it just ends with him grabbing him and like throwing him.
Basically that end scene. You remember when he kicks him and then he falls into the body and the body kind of grabs? That's exactly what was supposed to happen. But
and
then
that was
they
it
just
for Reptile.
Yeah, but then they just added this whole fight thing in the middle of
Which
it.
worked really well.
Yeah.
So just curious, when Johnny Cage and Scorpion goes to the portal, now did they end up in like Scorpion's lair on the island, or
they went straight to hell?
Realm?
They went straight to Hades.
You know, that looked like the construction set for Super Mario Bros. Just all the like fungus looking stuff.
So you're telling me to get away from everybody else?
Yeah.
They teleported to the set of Super Mario Brothers, so nobody would see them fight. Because I kept wondering, I was like, okay, they went to the portal and they're fighting. That's awesome. Wait a minute, where are they?
Yeah.
Who's doing construction in it?
And then I'm like, where
is this Mario?
Yeah, right. Because I was thinking, all right, so he defeats Scorpion.
How does
How
he
the
get
fuck
out?
did he find his way
Yeah,
back?
how did he get back? That's
Doesn't
a
matter.
good question. No, he
Doesn't
just
matter.
leaves his autograph.
How did
did
he
he
get
go?
into the forest in the first place?
Yeah, they didn't show that either. He's
just
appeared.
in the forest.
I didn't even know there was a forest on that island.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. That was a
Yeah.
forest of like endless trees.
Yep. Now they said that ironically, those 2 fights they added considered to be the best in the film, and they say it's most likely because Robin Shue was the exclusive fight choreographer for the reshoots, as opposed to Pat Johnson, who was originally credited for the
the original fights.
Yeah, so Pat Johnson did all the fights, the choreography for the fights,
But Robin Shue did Reptile
did
and-
Reptiles and the second part of Scorpion's fight, and those came out better.
Yes, they did.
Michael Jai White was actually going to play that Jax role. I would assume if they got him, he would have a bigger part in this movie.
Much bigger part.
But he left in order to do Tyson, and Tyson came out in 1995. He would eventually end up portraying Jax later in the other movies.
He had a bigger role in the other movie, if I remember right. Jax had like a whole fight with the yellow robot dude.
Cyrax.
Yeah.
Yeah, he in that movie he actually did act more like the commanding officer for Sonya Blade, other than just background noise.
This is
Don't
actually
go on
kind
the
of
boat.
funny. This is actually according to the film, the Outworld would have won 9 straight victories in Mortal Kombat and only needed 1 more in order to take over the Earth. Given that the 10th tournament takes place in 95, this means that the Earth realm have been participating since 1725, because the battle taking place a generation, which is 30 years. Each generation they have a Mortal Kombat tournament. So every 30 years. So if you count back 9 generations, their first battle was 1725. So where's that movie?
That's what I want to see. That is what I want to see.
Let me see that movie in 1725 where they're
In
like
the year
Mortal
1725, it was a Shaolin tournament. Mortal Kombat.
I think that's about it. Oh, and I have this one thing I thought was interesting, and this is the last. The last thing I have from Ed Boon, where he talks about the movie in that interview.
Sure.
I know you got to voice Scorpion in the film,
Yeah,
but were
I
you
did.
was you and your team otherwise creatively consulted on the movie at all?
Similar to like the Acclaim thing, but not like, you know, an official, you know, you can't make the movie without these
Right.
guys approving it. We had some pretty interesting discussions. You know, they had some pretty wild like suggestions for characters. I remember them saying, you know, they wanted Danny Glover to be Raiden, you know, and they had, you know, so they had some pretty.
I'm too old for this.
Yeah, exactly. And they had.
Why didn't we get that?
Kano originally just had like a pirate eye patch, and they would screen it for, you know, we were like, you know, no, he's got to have the big plate. And they would screen it for people like, you know, focus groups, and they would say, you know, no, that's, you know, like, you know, players were like fanatics at, you know, like, you know, that is not Kano. He does not have an eye patch. He has this. And so they're okay. And so that course corrected them.
Yeah, so why don't we have the movie where Danny Glover is Raiden and Mel Gibson is Liu Kang? And
It's like, I don't know how we're gonna beat Shang Tsung. Don't do it, Rig. Don't do it, Liu Kang.
Don't do it, Riggs. I mean,
what movie are we in right now? I don't know. If I don't know what movie we're in, I'm just gonna go nuts. I'm just gonna blow my brains out right here. No, don't do it. I'm getting too old for this.
I've got to tell you something. You guys did great.
That's coming from the Highlander.
There you go. So, anyways,
That was my fan theory.
that's a little bit on that. So there's a lot of stuff for this Mortal Kombat movie. Let's go ahead and rate it. So Timmy, I'm pretty sure you lost a lot of lives from what you said.
I lost 4.
4.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was just the only scene was the fucking banquet when they're all sitting around, and then Shang Tsung is like, let's give you a little taste of what's to come, and they just charge in and start flipping all the tables and shit. That had me cracking up. That was it.
This scene really made me hungry.
What about you? How many lives lost, Ryan?
I'll go ahead and be that guy. I only lost one.
Yeah.
The only reason Tim's shaking his head. The only reason I lost one, because even though watching it, yes, it kind of doesn't hold up today, me being an adult and everything, but I realized, man, I really cherished this movie in my entire childhood.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up wanting to see it all the time. I used to beg my mom to order the pay-per-view just so I can watch it.
Yeah.
That was Street Fighter for me. I used to always go to the library and look for Street Fighter.
Yeah. I'm going to say I lost 2 lives on this one. It's definitely worse than what I remember. But I think this movie would have been better if it was done, which of course it couldn't have been done because the game didn't come out to the 90s. But I feel like this movie, if it had an 80s like aura to it or style to it, like,
it would have been a cult classic.
I think it would have held up better throughout time if it was just known as one of those 80s movies. But it was in the 90s, and it was like it was played up too serious and too real to
but not violent.
Because like if it would have been done where they were like, this is silly and we're having fun with it, I think it would have held up better. But everybody's performances and everything in it were too serious, and if they tried to make the movie too real for the crazy batshit things that happen in this movie. I mean, you have a guy, Goro, getting punched in the nuts, but it's like the movie's played so serious, and then here's this crazy zany part on how, which I mean, they gave fan service. This movie was just fan service. It was like, oh yeah, this is just like the game. You know, Johnny Cage does a split and kick him in the nuts. Johnny Cage does the shadow kick. Scorpion shoots his arrow. He says, "Get over here!" That's there. Sub-Zero freezes people.
Tidbits.
And they kind of snuck in like fatalities, like that guy who gets frozen and shattered into pieces.
Yeah.
It's essentially like a fatality, just without any blood. Like it's just his head sitting there, and Shang Tsung. I think what he says, flawless victory. I think
that shit cracked me up.
Yeah. But that's from the game. All that's
When they made him do the announcements like that, oh my god, I totally forgot about that. So you just mentioned it, but that was hilarious.
Yeah. So
when you screen finish him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
your soul is mine.
Yeah. All those kind of things. Yeah. I'd have to say, like, I kind of get why this movie. I think it dumbed down the plot and stuff, and it just kept it simple, and it gave gamers at that time, like, this is what you like want. It's not good, but it's like it hits all the notes. Kano, like they said, they were going to give Kano an eye patch like a pirate, but they gave him the metal plate with the red eye. Like, they did all those things where all these characters felt like straight from the game, just about. Like, and I think that's why this movie was received so well at that time from gamers, because the game was at its hype. It was at the highest point of its time.
Well,
and then the movie comes out. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say at least they didn't do like Street Fighter, where at some point in the movie they all had to wear their costumes from the video game.
Yeah.
They said, "Here you go."
And I think actually with Street Fighter, that movie, I think it kind of, because Street Fighter came out I think like 93, and I think
94.
94.
And Mortal Kombat came out a year later.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. Not the first Mortal Kombat game. Yes. No.
Not the game, the movie.
Street Fighter. No, okay. I'm talking about the game. So Street Fighter, the game. Street Fighter 2, I think came out 92, 93.
Yeah, like about 92.
Yeah, so
and Mortal Kombat dropped in 93.
Yeah, 93. But then Mortal Kombat 2 came out, I think, in
94.
And then the movie's 05. And so the hype train.
Mortal Kombat 3 came out right after in 95.
And this is the other thing too. Mortal Kombat was getting that hype train from the news and the media with the violence and everything like that. So I think all that played into why this movie was successful. Where like Street Fighter, on the other hand, failed. But I think it's kind of a better movie, Street Fighter, in the sense that, it doesn't get all the characters right. And I think that's one thing that hurt Street Fighter, is because like Mortal Kombat got all of its characters right. Street Fighter, I think, kind of missed the boat on its characters to a degree.
On some.
On some. But I think
Sagat. That was stupid.
Well, Sagat, yeah.
nailed-
Honda, I think they kind of missed it with him a little bit too.
It nailed Zangief.
Zangief was cool.
Vega.
Yeah, Vega was cool, but then a lot of these characters also didn't have that much going on. Not like, I think, Mortal Kombat, where you got a lot of Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya, at least for that most part, and Shang Tsung, you got a good bit of him. Now, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, all them just kind of came and went. But it also followed the trajectory of the game. Like, this is a tournament. This is a thing. Like, Mortal Kombat fit that. This is the movie of the game, and this is like everything here. And to me, I think that's the only reason why. I think that's why it was successful the way it was. And then, of course, the Mortal Kombat.
I mean, the only way I would really think, like, at the time, that if certain fans didn't like the movie, because if they were huge fans of Scorpion and Sub-Zero, because I know they didn't get a whole lot of screen time, and they were pretty much killed by the main characters.
Yeah. So, which is funny too, because they were both killed, but then in the second movie they both come back. But I think Sub-Zero comes back.
Sub-Zero is a different Sub-Zero.
Yeah,
I think the same Scorpion.
Well, Scorpion was just a skeleton, so I mean,
right?
I guess
You can definitely argue
he's a Spectre, so he can come back whenever.
So,
and he even explains to Liu Kang why he's back.
Oh, he talks in the second.
No,
movie?
I'm talking about Sub-Zero, because he pops up to help them, and Liu Kang goes, "Wait, didn't I kill you?" And he's just like,
he's like a good guy in the second.
Yeah,
movie,
he goes,
right?
Actually, no, it's my brother. Long story.
Yeah,
I'll
you killed him,
explain
but
later.
it's cool.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
help you
fine.
out.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah. So, well, I think also Street Fighter did what Mortal Kombat Annihilation did, where I think this Mortal Kombat was kind of like they didn't go too offhand with all the character dumps. Annihilation just dumps all the Mortal Kombat characters in the movie with like nothing. And Street Fighter, I felt like did that too. Like DJ,
and it wasn't
DJ was just a guy by the computer. He didn't even fight. Vega had like one fight scene at the end. Sagat like one. T-Hawk was just an ADR line basically.
Yeah.
Now, he had a couple lines, but nothing much. And same thing with Cammy, was just like a side. Like with Street Fighter, they like, oh, here's all your characters, but you don't get to see really anything about those characters. And Mortal Kombat kind of like, well, here's these three, and we're going to focus on these three, and they'll fight some of these other characters that you recognize. But I felt like there's a better focus on the characters everybody likes from the game. So I think that's about it. I think that's, and I give it a 2. I think for that time I could see why it's big. Now though, it just does not stand the test of time. It doesn't.
compared to what they can do with it now.
Yeah, just no. It's and when you look at the script and everything, it's just all this stuff just kind of thrown together, and there's no reason why we're on this boat for a tournament because, and you know, we go into Earthrealm. Well, why can't they just go without tournament? I don't know. Like, well, yeah, but they don't say that to the second movie. The second movie gives like more like, oh, this is why there's these gods, and Raiden's one of these gods, and they kind of give some of that in the second movie. In the first one, though, there's just, you know, a lot of things they kind of mention it or it's said in the movie, like, oh, this is why, but
here it is.
It's just a lot of stuff like this, and you know, Scorpion could do this, and oh yeah, we just froze a guy, he shattered into pieces, and yeah, you thought you were just going to a regular tournament, but people are dying, and it's no big deal. It's just no big deal. You're seeing people's souls taken out of their body. Whatever. You know, like all this stuff is like if real life, you'd be like, what the fuck?
I didn't sign up for this shit.
Yeah, like you just took his soul. Like, isn't God only one that's supposed to do that? I'm out. Yeah, like that's crazy.
Thought you've seen it all.
Yeah. So, does anybody have any last words on this movie as we put it to rest and go for the second movie?
Johnny Cage, when he fights Goro, he punches him in the dick, right?
Yep.
The scene before that, I was talking to Ryan a little bit about this before we came in here. The scene before that, he's talking with his little posse, with Liu Kang and Sonya Blade, and he's like, guys, I got a plan, right? You remember that?
I actually have the scene cut, but I didn't play it, where him and Sonya Blade have this, like, they're played up to have this relationship in the movie.
You're not talking about the scene where she starts like calling him names and he goes, "Oh, you forgot good looking."
Oh yeah, that one. I have that one. I have that one. But yeah, where he's like, "Don't worry, I've got a plan."
Right. So he says he's got a plan. Nobody asks him what the plan is. They're just like, "Okay, you got it." What's his plan? Do a split, punch the monster man in the penis, run away.
Yeah.
That's his plan.
Kick him off a cliff.
So what if one of them? I don't even think his plan included the cliff, because he got to the cliff and he was like, "Oh shit!" and then he kind of like innovated that.
Yeah.
Yep. His whole plan
was a dick punch. That's true. You know what? That's the best plan.
So what if I just kept thinking, what if one of the other characters would be like, "Oh, what you got, man?" and he's like, "Oh, well."
I think he took that plan from the Battletoads.
There you go.
From our previous episodes. And who's next?
So, like, how would that have gone?
It's a good plan.
How would that have gone if he had to say like, "Oh, well, I was just thinking I was gonna like
punch him in the
I was gonna like do a split."
He was thinking those guys have.
I was gonna do a split and punch him in the dick. What do you guys think? And they would have been like, "No."
My plan is a dick punch. I can do these splits. They're really awesome.
They're like, "But no, like watch. Let me show you. Watch this split. Watch this split." And they were like, "Oh, you know, that might work." You know, like what?
One thing that popped in my mind, it's kind of off from what the movie is. You know, Liu Kang is like want to get all in that puss from Katana. That's 10,000-year-old pussy. What kind of conversation? What kind of conversation do you have when it's like, oh, like I've had sexual, like when you're dating a girl and you get to the conversation where it's like, well, you know, what are your sexual experiences before? What kind of answer does she have for 10,000 years of dicks?
He's not ready.
No,
he's not ready for what's gonna happen.
It's not what kind of answer she has. It's how long of an answer she's gonna have.
Yeah, like that's gonna be like.
Well, there was this one Cotton dude.
No, it's not even gonna be like that. It's just gonna be like, "Oh, you thought we were just gonna have sex?" Like, "Oh no, I'm well beyond that."
Yeah,
all right,
yep.
That doesn't do it for me anymore.
Well, also, what kind of moves does she have now?
I'm gonna need you to wear this.
Yeah, we're gonna go in this special room.
Yeah, exactly.
What are all these toys? This is how I get off now.
This is 10,000.
You think yours is gonna work? I've seen bigger. I've seen thicker. Right. I've seen smaller. Like. No, you're gonna need this stuff.
I call this move the Brotherhood of Shadow.
In fact, you know what? We're probably gonna need 5 other guys in there, and we're just gonna
get some of those monks in here.
Yeah, get some of those. Take your red ski mask off and get in here.
Oh no, keep them on.
It's that point in your relationship you're exchanging stories. It's like there's that one guy. There was that one guy in NetherRealm that doesn't call me anymore.
It's been like 20,000 years. Well, no, that's too long. It's been 5,000 years, and he hasn't called me yet.
I saw him the other day by the living trees. I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, this fucking movie, man. Like, it's look, 2 lives lost. Yeah. It's fine. I do own this movie and Annihilation. I bought them both, so that happened. But you get to watch Chun-Li right after Annihilation. Jesus. So we look forward to the pictures. And I figured if you're listening to Who's Next podcast, we haven't got word from Eric. I tried messaging him, but so far it's been a week into this weight loss challenge. This challenge we started last week with Who's Next podcast. And go check that out, and you can hear all the stuff we do on that. And about 8 pounds now in a week. So I think that's pretty strong.
Hey man, congrats.
164, I think, from 172. So getting it moving. So I guess you better get on Eric's ass, man. You're going to lose this bet.
I got to see what he's doing, man.
Y'all brought pizza over here, like a bunch of dicks, and I had a salad.
Oh, speaking about pizza, I think I might get a slice.
Yeah, there you go. You're getting a slice, man.
Yeah, well, when I texted you guys, and when you said, like, "No, I'm good," I was like, well, that's weird. And then I was like, wait, no, it's not weird at all. And I was like, dude, I feel like a dick. And then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, but I really want pizza, though.
I was kind of wondering, just like, man, maybe I might not order pizza. And I'm like, I can go for a slice.
That's what I told you. I said Ryan will probably want one. So I was like, just bring it. I'm not going to, like, hey, guys, don't bring that stuff over here because I'm trying to lose weight. That's whatever. It's cool. But, all right. Well, if you ain't got anything else, we're going to sign out with this.
Man, I'm thinking that sequel's gonna be awesome.
Don't forget Chun-Li.
We gotta keep fucking reminding me.